Welcome to ground zero of Baghdad's uprising. This is Tahrir Square, the beating heart of a huge protest movement that aims to topple Iraq's ruling class. Whizzing up and down its arteries is 18-year-old tuk-tuk driver Hussein. He dodges bullets and tear gas to ferry wounded demonstrators to makeshift hospitals. It's one of the crucial roles in this grassroots rebellion that has occupied the square for weeks.
We've become one big family, and everyone has their role, like at home. There are those who cook, those who clean, those in charge of putting out tear gas smoke. Everybody is a part of this big family, and everyone pulls their weight.
The anti-government rallies erupted on October 1st in an outrage over dismal public services and youth unemployment. It's Iraq's biggest protest movement since the US-led invasion that toppled Saddam Hussein in 2003. Defiant crowds have danced and chanted in the face of Iraqi forces, building barricades to protect themselves from tear gas, rubber bullets and live rounds. But their defences are limited. More than 400 people have been killed nationwide in 2 months of violent clashes. Medical tents are run by young volunteers like Ayat, who risk their lives to treat the wounded.
I'm not supposed to be here, but we have to be on the front line to help them. We cannot abandon them. We cannot leave if something happens to them. But we are also targeted. Many doctors have been arrested by the riot police, and we've had no news of any of them.
Every morning, volunteer medics join protesters in the square, armed with their stethoscopes. Ayat relies on donations and other volunteers to stock up supplies so she can help the continuous flow of patients. Thousands of protesters have been injured, particularly here in Baghdad and in Iraq's Shiite-majority south. Ayat is determined to do her bit for the cause, despite threats to her family and the risk of arrest.
We don't know our fate. At any moment they can shoot at us. At any moment we can die. What can we do?
Angered by the country's lack of infrastructure, the protesters have been quick to set up their own network of services. While medics administer free healthcare, tuk-tuks frantically shuttle back and forth, delivering supplies and evacuating the wounded. Previously confined to Baghdad's poorer neighbourhoods, the humble three-wheeler is now a symbol of the protests, with tributes appearing around the square.
It's the tuk-tuk drivers who transport the wounded to the hospitals, all on their own. It's us who bring food and everything the protesters need to the front line, on and under the bridges. All of this is the job of the tuk-tuk drivers. So our bad reputation has completely changed.
Spilling onto bridges across the Tigris River, the defiant protest camp has brought together Iraqis from all walks of life. Protesters like Hussein are united in contempt for a governing class they see as inept, corrupt and beholden to foreign powers, especially neighbouring Iran. Embattled Prime Minister Adel Abdel-Mahdi finally agreed to step down in late November, but the move is unlikely to quell the uprising, which demands far more deep-rooted change. Khairiyya, a volunteer from southern Iraq, earns just $150 a month to feed her family of 9. But she's been feeding a far bigger crowd for weeks at Tahrir Square, making traditional bread to keep the protesters well fueled.
At first we cooked at our own expense, and then people helped us and started donating. They bring us pulses, tea, sugar, rice, and we cook. Sometimes they bring flour.
Hayriya is fearful for the future in Iraq, where youth employment stands at 25%.
Iraqis can't take it anymore. Our graduates are unemployed. After graduating, they come home, and after that, what can they do with their diplomas? They find themselves selling bottles of water or tissues in the streets. They become labourers or they transport goods to the markets. Is this Iraq? We're a country of culture, a conscientious country. We should have everything we need. We have oil. And we're Iraqis, aren't we? Don't we have the right to our share?
More than half of Iraq's 40 million people are under the age of 25. These young people are barely represented in politics, but they rule in the square. Since October, they have camped out in tents and occupied an 18-story building nicknamed the Turkish Restaurant. Armed with their smartphones, they use Twitter, Instagram, and other online platforms to share the movement's latest news. And when the state restricts these social media sites, they find other ways to spread the word. 21-year-old Ali films violence against his fellow protesters, then sends the footage to local and international watchdogs.
First and foremost, I'm a protester. But since I also campaign for human rights, I stay here all the time. I need to keep track of all the human rights violations taking place here. Yes, we retreated a bit, but we came back. Despite all the threats, the repression, the intimidation, the campaign of terror, we remained there to document everything, to document each bullet fired from a state weapon, state militia or party militia, each tear gas grenade, each stun grenade, every bullet.
Ali is one of many who feel a duty to show the truth of what is happening on the ground. Iraq has come under fire for repressing free speech and for its unyielding response to the protests. But these demonstrators are determined to stay in the streets until their demands are met.
I dream of security. I dream of beautiful schools, hospitals, a calm life with a salary, enough to support a family, for my son to go to school, to live in safety, to feel good, without war or sectarian violence, without all these things. What I want most is security, because we don't have it.
Over their weeks of occupation, the many faces of Tahrir Square have stitched together a vibrant community. They aim to weave together the fabric of a fairer Iraq. However, activists are strongly aware that their fight for a better future comes at a cost. As night falls, they gather to mourn the loss of fellow comrades.
قراءة هذا المحفل نهتف للعراق بالنشيد الوطني الكل سلام على